Hello, Steam Next Fest. We are Cinq-Mars Media. We're so excited to be here. Introducing our new game, TradeBots. My name's Drew. With me is the director of Cinq-Mars Media and lead developer of TradeBots, Christopher Cinq-Mars Jarvis. How you doing, Chris?
Doing great. So happy to be here with all of you. Thank you for joining us. I'm super excited.
I'm really excited too. So if you're here, please, if you have any questions, drop them in the chat immediately. We'll get right to them. We'll answer anything you have going around. And yeah, Chris, I know a little bit about this game. I haven't worked on this game. I'd love to hear more about it.
Yeah. So really, 2 years ago, I was kind of getting more into crypto. I was getting more into trading, and for personal reasons, just wanting to be a little bit more independent financially and trying to get into all of that stuff. And I was really intoxicated with this idea of creating a bot or a robot to put in trades for you, and taking a more quantitative numerical approach to investing. So I played around with it, and I didn't make much money, but I had a lot of fun, like a surprising amount of fun. And I realized that as I was doing it, I was using a lot of the same tools and kind of gameplay from our other games. I mean, if you're in the chat, you're probably familiar with some of our other games like the Devil's Calculator or Copy Editor, where the gameplay really comes down to pattern recognition and reverse engineering, tinkering, puzzle mechanics, and all of those things. And when I realized that, along with the very very steep learning curve for someone, I have a programming experience, and it was very hard for me to kind of break in and get into the swing of things with algorithmic trading. I thought, well, this is going to be a really fun game, and also furnish people with some really practical lessons. So let's kick it to the trailer real quick.
So what is a margin account?
That's super fun. That's super exciting. All right, so do you want to walk us through how TradeBots is played?
Yeah, for sure. So, well, even before that, let me explain kind of the premise or the concept or the conceit behind it.
Yeah.
So, in finance, there is this tension I have learned between quantitative traders that trade on like technical indicators and like numbers, and more fundamental traders. So, like an example of like fundamental trading would be taking into consideration the wide swath of context, like what is the current political climate like, who's on the board of directors, is XYZ, are they competent, what's the company's business model, et cetera, et cetera. And on the other side of things, you have what are called technical analysts, and they look just at the patterns and the numbers, the raw numbers themselves, to try to make inferences about what will happen in the future. So the first idea of this game is that at the beginning, we have tried to strip the game of all of the fundamental context that you might expect in a stock game. You do not know what stock you are working with. You have no idea. You don't know what sector the stock is in. Later on, you can unlock crypto and ETFs. We start with stocks. You don't know what year it is because, hey, if it's 2008, you might make some rightly, be
Different choices.
yes,
Yeah.
different choices. You don't even know what the trading price of the stock is at first. All of these things are upgraded through an upgrade tree. And
So what are you looking at instead?
so the very first thing you have, the first and only piece of the puzzle you have to start out with is this candlestick chart. And the reason that we did this with the upgrade tree is because this game is extremely complex and nuanced and offers a great deal of complexity. And we wanted the upgrade tree allowed us to present the game at first in a very, very simplified way. And candlesticks, I mean, some of you probably have seen these in movies and TV. I didn't know how to read them at first.
Still don't know. Yeah.
Stop. But yeah, this is the first piece of the puzzle, and we offer this way of watching YouTube videos and learning these different indicators as you upgrade through the game. And you can watch.
When you first start out,
You can read, and you can take quizzes to earn money in game to buy and sell and try to make more money. At its core, it's kind of like an idle game where you're trying to maximize profit over time. Buy low, sell high, that kind of thing. And at first, in terms of the timing of when you buy and sell, it'll really feel like you're fumbling around in the dark. But over time, you'll learn concepts that will help make those choices very rewarding for you.
So I don't need to be a trader or know much about
Absolutely
stocks in order
not.
to-
No, I honestly, when I started this out, I didn't know anything about trading, and we've also designed the game. We've designed the game for that demographic of person, as well as the kind of demographic of person who doesn't know anything about programming or coding. But we'll get to all of that fun stuff later. So the upgrade tree. The first two upgrades are free, which is step forward. This allows you to step one day at a time into the future. Again, you don't know what year it is. You only know the month and day. And you can see that the day is up here, and we go forward one day at a time. Sometimes it jumps multiple days because of weekends and days where the stock exchange isn't open, stuff like that. And the next upgrade is margin loans, which allows you to take out some money to actually start trading. And then you pay interest monthly, and if you can't pay back that interest every month, you lose money. So go ahead.
Well, so we're losing money. What happens if I lose all my money?
Well, at first, nothing.
Okay.
But very, very soon within the upgrade tree, you encounter something called a margin call. And that is a double-edged sword because it furnishes you with a lot of resources. It dramatically increases the amount of money that you can take out on loan. And in exchange for that, it activates the game's fail condition, where if you lose enough money relative to how much of your loan that you've taken out, you will be margin called and forced to restart. The game is not is you're encouraged to fail many times. It's sort of like, I mean, maybe it's a little much of an analogy, but like Dark Souls or like a roguelite or something like that, where you're encouraged to die over and over and over again, and you have the ability to restart runs with a randomly assigned stock. And the nice thing about that is each run you get a little bit stronger. There are upgrades in the upgrade tree where you can bank funds for future runs, just kind of like a roguelite. And you can keep all of the money that you've earned from learning about different concepts. So for example, I just upgraded the margin loan, as you saw, and now I've unlocked a margin loan quiz that I can take to earn another $10 to put towards my investing. And really the dance, especially at first, is just trying to figure out how to buy low and sell high. And the way that you put in trades is you use this little slider. You hit process trade, and you can see with this little blue arrow that we've traded right there. And as we continue forward, we can see that our net worth is going up.
So looking at that too, is that we have the holdings, we have cash, and then we have the pie chart down there too that's growing.
Mm-hmm.
I was wondering if you could walk me through what those different things are.
Sure. The pie chart, this button just reviews your net worth over time, and all the fees that you've all the fees that you've paid, your days traded, the number of trades that you've put in, your gains over time, and your net worth. And cash and holdings is a breakdown of how your net worth divides in the ratio of your net worth that is in cash, that is not invested in the current asset, and holdings, the ratio of your net worth that is invested in the current asset. So you might be asking, okay, how in the world am I supposed to know? It just feels random, it feels haphazard. Well, as you get further along, you unlock more pieces of the puzzle. And there are literally hundreds of upgrades that you unlock throughout your playthrough. This is one of them. This is called a 7-day SMA. So this is a simple moving average. This is the close price averaged over the last 7 days, shown visually. And you can see that we have a new menu up here where we can now toggle this on and off. And not only has this unlocked the indicator visually, it's unlocked our ability to access the value of this indicator in bots later on. But I'll put a pin in that. So very, very simplistically, you'll learn an example of a trading strategy is there's some conventional wisdom in finance that the trend is your friend. And what this means is you never try to go against where something is trending. And a simple moving average is great to make an inference on the trend because it shows us the candlesticks can sometimes show us a lot of noise, a lot of up and down in the middle. But with the trend, we can see that okay, we bought during an uptrend, which comports with the whole idea of trend is your friend. You buy while it's going up, and then as soon as it starts going down, we sell. And that is the very, very first strategy that you can play around with and see how successful it's being for you. And then you can develop your own strategies. And that's the whole beauty of this game is, you're developing trading strategies and you're testing it on real data. And in finance, this is called backtesting. This is a thing that real traders do. They say, okay, well, I have an idea that, that so-and-so indicator. In fact, let me just show all of you a quick snapshot of what it looks like when you've actually ascended the mountain and climbed up the upgrade tree. I have a special secret button that I'm not going to share with anyone called Upgrade All, which just...
I don't get that. That's
no, you don't.
Not fair.
You have to wait. Where this unlocks all of the indicators. I am in demo mode. This is not all the indicators. Oh, my apologies. I need to switch from demo mode.
Yeah, no problem.
Excuse me, please. Sorry about that. The demo only...
So this is... Yeah. I was about to say, this is going to be the extent of what's in the demo that's already on the Steam store, right?
Correct.
Gotcha.
Already 4,000 downloads and amazing community of people giving feedback and helping with bug fixes. It's been great.
And thank you to everyone who has been reaching out about this. It's really, really helpful to go through and tweak. If you're interested in trade bots at all, feel free to download the demo. We'd love to hear more We'd love more feedback. It's really beyond helpful. So thank you.
Yes. So I'm just spinning up the real version. My apologies again. I started the demo by accident, but the demo gives you just kind of a small taste of all of the complexity. But as I was saying before, we've in the demo you can unlock something called MACD, which is another tool that you can use to make inferences. Oop. All right, so the full version is done. I'm just going to.
And the full version will be out in Q1 of this year, right? A couple months.
Yep. We're trying to gauge based off of the feedback on the demo, and bug fix and we'll turn off the sound effects for now. And then, as I said, upgrade all. Here we go.
And then really quick question before you jump into that.
Yeah.
Is it always the same stock that we're looking at?
Oh,
or
no,
is
there
okay.
are 5,000 stocks, more than 1,000 cryptos, and well over 1,000 ETFs that we're playing around with. So
amazing.
Again, this is after you've ascended the upgrade tree. You've unlocked everything. You've unlocked the ability to see what year it is, unlocked the ability to see what the price of the asset is, unlocked the ability to brush data, move in and out, look at periods of time, and in addition, you can actually see what the stock or asset is that you're investing in. Although, if you want to continue just with the technical aspect of it and hide the fundamental stuff, that's easy enough to do. You can also see the sector. And again, all of these upgrades, all of this data is accessible when you make bots, which is what's really cool. So when you upgrade it, you can.
I'm really excited to get to
access it.
Yeah.
But what I was saying before is backtesting. Real traders, they develop different ideas and strategies, which I found surprisingly creative. Like there's this notion that people in the financial sector, it's just accounting and boring, and they there's no room for creativity or artistry. I found this to be really, really beautiful. The depth with which you can kind of come up with different ideas and say, okay, well, I have this instinct that the upper Bollinger Band is somehow related to industrial production, and as industrial production let's say it's inversely correlated. So as industrial production goes down, and the Bollinger goes up, then I think the close price will benefit positively from that. And what backtesting is in finance is you testing that, you actually going in and running this simulation on all of these stocks' historical data. And this game essentially gamifies that. This is what you're doing quite literally in the game, is testing all these strategies and trying to find that alchemy of okay, how can I predict the future? It's the palm reading of like how can I predict where the stock is going to go based on these patterns. And that's
are you doing it just from gut instincts and pattern recognition, or like the learn and earn is teaching you these concepts?
Here's the thing: if you I'm a big believer in failing over and over again, and a sandbox where you're not being condescended to or told what to do, and a game that's not didactic. If you don't want to use learn and earn at all, you don't have to. You can beat this game without taking a single quiz. So if you think you can outsmart the conventional wisdom of things without learning any of the fundamentals behind them, go for it. Dark Souls. you're gonna die a lot. Even if you take the quizzes, you're probably gonna die a lot. But at some point, I think most players will realize the benefit and the grace of learning a little bit about, okay, what a Bollinger Band is and why it isn't used and why it is important. And then that taking into consideration what that is in the calculus of what you're trying to come up with in terms of your trading strategy.
That's so cool.
So, as I said, you have once you've ascended the mountain, you have all of these crazy looking charts that right now you couldn't even begin to comprehend what they are or how they are. But again, you unlock each one at a time, and have the opportunity to play with it individually, and that really helps not overwhelm you. Again, that's why I think the upgrade tree was such an important device within the game. The upgrade tree also upgrades like your ability to sim forward faster. For example, like the demo, you can only sim like 2 days per second or 3 days per second. I don't quite remember. Ultimately, you know, on my MacBook Pro, I'm hitting speeds of almost 2,000 days per second.
Oh my God.
When all is said and done, and again, that speaks to the DNA of the game as like an idle game. You know, it gets exponentially more difficult, but the speed at which you can simulate forward and test your strategies becomes also much higher.
And I feel like by idling and letting it simulate forward, you get to tell whether what you're building and sort of your the ideas that you're coming up with, whether there's any truth to them or not, or whether they work, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And you might find during a run that, oh, my strong intuition that the ADX and you know, the trailing ATR are not the key to, you know, getting all the money in the world. And there are other pieces of the puzzle that you may have overlooked. So I think this is a great time to start talking about the different automation milestones in TradeBot.
I was about to ask.
Yeah. Yes, because honestly, this game would be pretty lackluster, in my opinion, if it were just about manual trading. Because I feel like there are a lot of games that already exist, maybe not with this level of complexity, certainly, but that allow you to kind of place manual trades and do all of that stuff. What really sets TradeBots apart, in my view, are these automation modes, these automation milestones. So we have 4 of them, again, to introduce them very, very slowly. The first is limit stop, and you can learn all about what a limit order and a stop order is. And this is the most simplistic form of automation that I can think of in finance. And this is simply saying that, well, okay, right now this particular stock is trading at $162 a share. I have a strong suspicion that given the information that I'm seeing, given the indicators, given the data, that it's going to go down. And then after it goes down by a little bit, it's going to shoot up. And I want to catch it when it's cresting down. So I'm going to say, I want to buy the stock, but I don't want to buy it now. I want to buy it when it's, I want to buy it when it's 158 or whatever. I want to buy it when it's 158 or 152. So when it's gone down 6.16%, for example. And I can process this trade, and now it is active. If it's been taken out of my account temporarily, and now if the stock goes down by that 7% to this value, the trade will be placed automatically. So if I sim forward, it happened the very next day. Wow, look at that luck. You can see the candlestick chart. It just shot down the very next day. But if let's say it wouldn't have happened for several weeks, I could go grab a coffee, wait, come back, and it will have placed that trade for me automatically. And once you've grown accustomed to this idea, the next automation milestone is simple bots. And simple bots allows you to use that automation, that functionality, but taking it to a new level. So here we have something called entry. Entry is another word for buying, and we have conditionals that, if met, we place a trade. So, we talked earlier about the trend is your friend being a very, very, very simplistic trading strategy. So if you want to employ a bot that uses the trend is your friend strategy, you can go, if the 10-day simple moving average today is greater than the 10-day simple moving average 5 days ago by a factor of 2%, then you can have the program put in that buy for you, just in the same way that the limit order triggered. And you can add much more complexity. You can say, only do this if the trailing ATR is below this threshold, and only do this if, we group conditionals and all of that. But we don't necessarily have to worry about that. Yeah. That I hit that button by mistake. Apologies. So the really cool thing with simple bots here, simple debug simple. And this is just a shortcut that I wrote to preload some simple bots in that vein, and the trend is your friend way. We can see that we're putting in automatic trades, and as we sim forward, all these trades are being placed, and all of these cells are being placed. And we can play around with the underlying rules and the timing of all of this, but it's very satisfying, and it's a lot of fun to watch that happen. So
it's interesting watching your sort of net worth oscillate between being in the green and then the red, but that change, does that change day to day, like sort of relative to the day before, or is it?
Yeah, it does. So this changes green and red depending on whether or not you've lost money or gained money in the last period of time that you're using when you're simming forward. It's just a quick visual cue to kind of let you know if your money's on fire or not.
It's
that
just
I found
pure
helpful.
red.
Yeah, pure red.
Yeah, no, that's great.
And I guess let's quickly talk about logs. So, and every time that the robot actually places a trade in for you, you can see, what it did and why it did what it did.
Wow.
And you have verbose information there, explaining the context of where that trade was, and you have this little button to the side. And I think this is probably a good time to introduce the last automation milestone of TradeBots, and really what the game is all about. And that is advanced bots. So we have a stack trace. Even simple bots are under the hood advanced bots. And as you can see, the simple bot that I just made, that you just saw, where the trend is your friend, 10-day simple moving average thing, is just automatically made an advanced bot with these nodes. And when you're trying to debug or stack trace or figure out exactly why the bot did this and did that, you can open up what's called a stack trace, and you can look, okay, well, this advanced indicator, the simple moving average was 70.9 5 days ago. The simple moving average today was 69.19, and that is in fact a 2% decrease. Therefore, we sell, and that's why the bot did what it did on this particular day, on 8/26/20. And if we go into node bots, all right, let's hit new bot. Here, actually, rather than I'll just do it this way. No, that's not right. Debug nodes. I will just auto-populate the simple moving average bot that we made with simple bots. We can convert simple bots into advanced bots. So this is exactly the simple bot that we made a few minutes ago, where I said the trend is your friend, where the simple moving average is 10 days today. If it's greater than the simple moving average from 5 days ago by a factor of 2%, then we buy. If the inverse is true, then we sell.
Right.
And this interface probably took 90% of the resources and time in making this game. I mean, we really wanted to pour resources into making this the most enjoyable and coolest part of the game, because the level
it's so sleek.
The level of complexity that this is capable of is it's basically limitless. And just to show you real quick, I mean, you can go step ahead. Let's go one day at a time and just sim forward. We can actually watch as the bot is simming forward, and we can see what our gains are doing over time as we sim one day at a time.
Oh, cool.
And as I mentioned before, whenever you upgrade and unlock a new indicator or tool to make inferences about what's going on in the market, technically, it becomes accessible here in this interface. So if I want to, I think Bollinger came up earlier.
Yeah.
I can get the upper bound of the Bollinger over a period of 20 days at some point in time, and I can use that value and manipulate it in my bot in order to determine when to time a buy trade or a sell order.
And learning about Bollinger and all that comes through the learn and earn.
Exactly.
All of these concepts come. You have to learn them step by step. If you don't, in order to get money, basically.
And you can ignore them if you want. If you don't think that they'll be helpful. But in my experience,
if you know it already.
In my experience, every part of the puzzle is useful situationally. And we have lots of different. Look, we have logic gates here. We have math nodes where we can add modula. Yeah, anything that you can dream up, you can use in this view to make better trades. In fact, just to give you an example of just how advanced it gets, we even include neural networks, support for neural networks. So for any of you who are the least bit familiar with neural networks and machine learning, basically the idea is a neural network, very, very simply, it takes in some number of inputs and then predicts an output. I remember when I first started learning about machine learning, I was doing a Kaggle, which is super fun, where on the Titanic, where you were given 20% of the Titanic's manifest, and you were given the gender and the age and the cabin number and where the passenger got on, and then you were given whether or not they survived or died on the Titanic, and you were expected to build a neural network in which the output is either a 1 or a 0, depending on whether they survived or whether they died, and the inputs were all of those variables that I mentioned before, and conventional wisdom is women and children survived the Titanic, but basically what happens behind the scenes here is the desirous output that we want our neural network to predict is the close price. If we knew the close price in advance, that's the alchemist's key, right? And the inputs are whatever we want the neural network to consider and weight as variables. So in the Titanic example, it overwhelmingly confirmed the conventional wisdom, where the neural network heavily weighed whether or not you're a female and your age, whether or not you're a child, as being the most determinant factors of whether or not you would survive. And it would assign those coefficients, and it would do that calculus within the neural network after I trained it on all of that data. And what you can do here is you can say, all right, well, instead of women and children, maybe I suspect that the simple moving average, 20-day simple moving average, and the, well, why not, Bollinger, upper band of Bollinger, these are the most influential in terms of predicting the close price. And I'm going to train my neural network based on these indicators. And once I collect enough data points, I can actually have that neural network guess at what it thinks the close price will be in the future, ChatGPT style.
Wow. So can you then use those neural networks
Absolutely.
on other... There we go.
So you can then use that neural network that you just trained right here
So cool.
by giving it the same inputs, by giving it the Bollinger input and the SMA input right here. This neural network will output whatever this neural network, after I've trained it, I haven't trained it yet, and it takes a little while to train, and 37 data points is not enough, but
No, yeah.
It will output whatever it estimates the close price to be. And you can use this in tandem with your other bots, and it gets really, really cool. It's a huge sandbox with which to learn all sorts of cool stuff.
I was about to say, because also you talked about going through like 2,000 days and very quickly. Yeah, that is very helpful for the neural network, and then you can have as many data points as possible in order to build this.
And then I'll mention one more thing about the advanced bots. There are also...
I kind of want to stay here for a bit. This is really cool.
Sure. Okay. We can do that. There are all sorts of things that you can do here. I mean, we have you can set variables. You can put in limit stops. Obviously, you might need an action to halt the bot. Like, let's say you've lost a bunch of money and you're like, oh my god, we got to stop this and forensically audit what happened. There's metadata, so you can even say, okay, if the sector includes the medical field, I'm going to treat this differently. I'm going to route to a different bot. I'm going to have a bot for the medical field. I'm going to have a bot for this sector. Leading indicators, we didn't really talk about that. I think we talked about housing, but like housing starts, you can take that into consideration. You can really...
Wow, the data that you have on every single stock is incredible.
But as you can see already, this has kind of gotten a little unwieldy, right? I mean, there's a lot going on this page already. So and I do apologize. This is not done, but will be when the full game releases. We have something called modular bots, where you can make your own nodes. So as many, these nodes we've made for you, right? But what you can do is you can create a new node that is comprised of all of these nodes. Think like nested bots. And what's nice about it is, like, let's say you want a ratio of your cash to invested. Like, do you remember earlier, Drew, where we had our holdings and we had our cash?
Yep.
It might be very useful to say, okay, well, if I'm completely invested in the market right now, I want to do this. Or if I'm, I don't have a lot of skin in the market right now, I want to treat it differently. Of course, we have cash here, so we can get your cash on a particular day, and of course we can get your holdings, but we don't have that ratio, because if I were to expose everything like this, it would be just completely unwieldy. There'd be like a billion different nodes for every little thing. So this way, if you're finding this node particularly helpful, I mean, you can make your own. So you can say your cash today plus your holdings, and then you want the ratio of your I forgot what I even said. I think your cash, right? So it would be your cash divided by the sum of these two things would give you the ratio, right?
Yes. I have an arts degree, so that sounds right. I'm going to say yes.
So this will give you the ratio. So it's the cash plus your holdings, and then your current cash divided by your cash plus your holdings.
Chris, do you mind moving our images really quick? So
I'll just do. Yeah, I'll move.
Or the nodes.
Yeah, I'll just move the nodes themselves. Sorry about that, chat.
Thank you so much for drawing our attention.
Drew's fat face gets in the way a lot.
It does.
So very simply, I mean, this is an example of how to get your day-to-day ratio of what your cash is. But it would be completely ridiculous every time you needed to get this piece of information to use to build these 5 nodes. It's just a waste of time. So what you can do, and again, it's not quite ready yet, is you can build your own custom node where inside of the node is this. And then you can use that node and repeat using that node for all of your bots. And it's really simple, and it doesn't clutter up the screen. And it's like functionalizing in programming. Again, you don't have to know anything about programming, but in programming, this is a way to, you make a function that you can call repeatedly, and it kind of remains separate from the rest of the interface.
Yeah.
So and then in addition to the neural networks and the gains and all of the logs and stack tracing and all of this stuff, what I'm super excited about and super proud of is the ability to export and import these bots. So this crazy bot that we just made with all the data training and all this stuff, we can download a file right now, and we have something called a trade bot file. I can't show it on stream, but anyway, when I hit this button, it just downloaded a .tradebot file, and I could post that to Steam. I could post that to the community at large, and anyone could import that bot into their game, and they could check out the strategies and creations of someone else, which I think is pretty cool.
That's so cool.
And the next logical step, and I really do want to hear from the community about this as well, is at some point in the future, we hope to support the ability to take these bots into the real world, where we can have a translation layer that will make these .tradebot files work on financial platforms, so that if you don't know programming, you don't have to start from scratch and build your bot in like Python. You can keep what you've made here and you can deploy it in the real world.
That's huge.
Yes.
So you can test out these bots with theoretically years and years of data.
Yes.
Very quickly debug them and then put them into real world applications.
Yes, that is
eventually.
That is the ultimate ambition. That said, even if we can't manage to swing that, I mean, we're a nonprofit, we're an educational nonprofit. The optics of that would be tricky. The legal aspects of it would be tricky. But even if not, the project is open source. So anyone can come in and build a translation layer, or at that point, once you've become so confident with the logic and the underlying strategy behind your bot, you can use the tools afforded to you by a real trading platform and remake it, and the amount of work to remake it is inconsequential in the long run. But
yeah, I just want to shout out links to our GitHub is on our website, which is Cinq-Mars Media.
And yes, the repo for this is not up yet. I apologize. As soon as the full version is out, we'll publish to GitHub.
But still, like, the ambition of that is really wonderful. And even if, depending if that doesn't happen, just the idea of this, of being able to have these tools, because like I don't know much about trading, period. Mm-hmm. I know basic concepts, but not enough to have the confidence in order to step out and feel good, even read candlestick charts and feel like I can understand trends.
Right.
So that knowledge, like being able to share that as an educational game company, is really exciting. It feels meaningful. So
yeah, I mean, I think what's really exciting about that movement of financial independence and with crypto and with Robinhood and kind of taking it upon themselves to be responsible for their trading all on their own. I'm excited to be part of that movement where people are more empowered to, at the very least, know the language and the ins and outs of what's under the hood here, because I think too often the financial sector runs because it makes what it does just too overly complicated, and it obfuscates for the average person what it's doing. And I think I'm proud to be kind of part of that. That's a big ambition of this game.
Yeah. Well, it's working because I know what a Bollinger Graph is. Like that's asked me a couple months ago.
Do you know what a Bollinger
Do I?
Graph
Well,
is?
I can at a party. I could probably nod along enough. All right.
I'm just teasing. What does the chat want to see more of? What do people, Drew? What do you want to see more of? I mean, I know that this is kind of new for you.
I would love to see you play this in a way that's like as you would, on a Saturday afternoon, and just put things together and enjoy yourself with it. I think we could maybe go back towards the start so we can sort of do a bit of a playthrough and see how those pieces come together. But yes, anyone in the chat, we are simultaneously streaming to Twitch and to Facebook and to YouTube. If anyone on those platforms also wants to contribute and ask some questions, please do. I'm watching all of it and just shout it out, and I'll shout it out. And but yeah, I think maybe seeing the game in action and building, start to build these bots is very, very cool.
Yeah, that sounds good. So you just shout out questions kind of as I'm tinkering around, and I'll narrate a little bit of what I'm doing. So at the very start of the game, we have 2 free upgrades just to kind of get you used to how the upgrade tree works.
And at this point, too, for people who are just joining us, you don't know what the stock is, and you don't know when in time it is.
No idea. All of the fundamentals have been removed, have been extracted. So you're really just looking at the pattern recognition. And honestly, the only thing I have in front of me now is the candlesticks, so it's going to be a little hard. But it looks like we're in an upward trend. I'm going to roll the dice. I'm going to process a trade here.
You're going all of it.
I regret not upgrading volume, because again, each upgrade is a puzzle piece. So I'm gonna have to, because I did all of it, which was silly. I shouldn't have done that. I'm gonna have to sell not enough cash. You can only afford this upgrade if you sell some of the stake in your investment you wish to proceed. Yes.
Okay.
So I spent $5 of my $100 here to unlock the volume indicator, and this shows me how much trading took place on a particular day. And this is good. This confirms, as you can see, the day that had the highest volume of trading was this day right here, where I put in my trade. And again, trend is your friend. It seems to be in an upward trend. And the fact that so much volume happened this day makes me think that something good happened today for this stock. So, wow, was I wrong?
Oh.
Look at this. Oh my goodness. Oh, wow.
Oh.
And this is
when the window has to like zoom out to recontextualize your loss. It's really humbling.
This is incredible. I don't think I've ever suffered this dramatic of. I mean, 26% of my.
Wow.
So you can see how, yes, you have these conventional wisdoms, you have these things, but if I had more tools, if I had the MACD, if I had Bollinger, because we're just doubling down on Bollinger today, we could have maybe anticipated this loss here. And it's so important to remember that, it's not an exact science. Anything can happen. We're looking at patterns that are averaged over a long, long period of time. And no matter how brilliant or competent your investment strategy is, you're always going to suffer losses. And it just keeps going. So it looks like it rebounded. It's starting to rebound a little bit. Oh. Still going down. So should we stick with it? I don't know.
No.
Here at this point, we've lost almost half our money, and I'm tempted to just get some of it back by learning quizzes. Volume, for example, we can get $20 by just taking this quiz.
Volume is the quantity of a security that trades between buyers and sellers. Volume is measured on a trade-by-trade basis. Total.
Yep, we watch through. We can look up. This opens up a new window that's not being streamed, but you can look on Investopedia, read all about volume on Investopedia, and then take the quiz. It's don't worry. It's not like crazy. If you get it wrong, which I just did on purpose, that's my story. And I'm sticking to it. We can. We just try again, and it randomly sorts the order of the questions and the order of the answers. And
it's really nice that you're not penalized for failing.
Yeah, originally you were. Originally, you had to wait 5 minutes before taking the quiz again, and you had to couldn't make as much money as you could the first, and we were getting a play test, and people are like, this is so hard already. Why are you being such a jerk? And it should feel, like there's no risk. You're just having fun. So
yeah. But with the difficulty of the devil's calculator.
Exactly. So you fail a lot, and there's no consequence or anything like that. So yeah, let's stick with it. All right, we're finally starting to rebound. Oh, as I say that, I jinx it.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a sinking ship.
So how do we get off the sinking ship?
Well, there are a couple of options. We can try to stick with what we have here, or we can cut our losses and we can just say, hey, let's start a new run.
Because I also know that there's the conventional you want to buy low and sell high, and
and
sell low.
Honestly, so much a part of this game is repeated failure, and as you can see, we start over from zero. If I had gone, I probably should have. If I had gone through and just done that volume quiz for the learn and earn, then the profit for that, what I earned, the $20 from that quiz, I would start with. So right now I start with 0.
Got it.
But I would start with 20 otherwise. And then during the upgrade tree, especially if you're struggling at the beginning, one option is to try to work up towards the banking upgrades, which will allow you to, spend, $200 now on an upgrade, so that in the future, every additional run, you start off with a little bit more money, and that makes your future runs go a little bit more smoothly.
Got it.
So yeah, start over again, and we try. Sorry, what?
Yeah. No, you're good.
Any questions from chat? I mean, I know we have like only about 5 minutes left. So I want to make sure there's room for questions. Or Drew, do you have any questions? I mean, do you have?
Ooh, good question.
I mean, there are so many things that we haven't covered, and that's the thing. I just don't want to
Yeah.
The thing that I worry about here is just alienating people who are like, oh my god, this is way too complicated for me or over my head, and it's not.
Yeah.
Like, I promise you, it's not. Like, I didn't know anything about this stuff, and especially when you take it one step at a time, it's really easy. And I don't want to say it's really easy. That would be lying, but it's definitely digestible.
Yes. I mean, we're an educational game company, and I know you take that seriously. So it's it both is completely accessible and should be able to be. It's learning incrementally and building a robust knowledge base, but it's still fun and it's still tough and it's still a game and a puzzle game.
Yeah, and that said, it's not designed to be didactic. I mean, there are some people who, when they play an educational game, expect to be hit over the head with, this is how you do this and this is how you do that. We, with our games, it's about creating a sandbox environment or a playground where you are excited enough, where we've inspired enough of enthusiasm for you to take it upon yourself to learn concepts. And I think that's the only way, to do it, at least in my view, at least in the way that I learn, failing repeatedly and then throwing in the towel and be like, okay, I do need to learn how this works in order to get over this hump.
Can I see you do a run sort of later in the game once unlocked everything with simple bots and sort of seeing you debug those? I'd love to see.
Sure.
That kind of ideal situation.
Well, in order to do that, I'm going to have to introduce another concept, another one of the many, many, many upgrades that you have. So let me do that real quick first. Shorting. So shorting is one of those other upgrades that you will encounter throughout the game. And I mention this because, at the simple bot mark in the game, shorting becomes important. Basically, in real life, shorting is you're basically betting against the asset. So if you have a strong inclination that the stock you're looking at is going to go down and go down sharply, like what happened with our last stock, right? Typically, what you'd think was, well, the only thing that I can do is just not buy it. I just wait it out, right? Shorting allows you to invert things. It says, okay, I'm going to bet you that this stock actually, I'm going to bet that this stock actually goes down. In real life, what you're actually doing is you're selling stock that you don't even own. But at any rate, you're to be simple in the game, it just takes an inverted position. So whatever the close price is today, which we can see is $51.45. And look, everything technically, just from first blush, looks like this stock is going up. So this is a bad idea. I'm just going to make that clear. To short this stock is a bad idea right now. But instead of buying the stock and my earnings going up as the stock goes up, my earnings go down as the stock goes up, and my earnings go up as the stock goes down.
Got it. A quick question from the chat.
Yeah.
On that note, are options included, like puts and calls?
Puts and calls, no, not right now, but
Okay.
we are hoping to add them later. Puts and calls and intraday trading are things from chat and from the community that we've been that we want to include. I mean, we somewhere in the code, I started with puts and calls, and I just put a pin in it along with intraday trading. I think we talked last stream about how intraday trading would make the binary balloon from like 2.5, 3 gigs to like 15 or 16 gigabytes. So that's the main obstacle there. But yeah, puts and calls, I think would be a great addition. Anyway, the stock's going up and my money is going down. And because in the game, this game is really attention of time, because you can restart the game whenever you want. Shorting is a useful tool so that you're not just waiting around for the stock to comport with whatever situation, whatever conditions you think would be beneficial for a buy order. I guess it doesn't leave enough time to show you the bot that you asked for, Drew. I'm sorry.
Oh no, it's okay.
But
no, this is just doing this too was really, really helpful. Again, this game is huge. It's massive. There's so many different pieces to it, but I'm glad we got to do a deep dive on the bots this time too.
And as a result of the complexity, I mean, there are invariably going to be bugs, especially at this stage before we've released with just the demo. So I do appreciate your patience, and I quick shout out to a guy on many people on Steam who've been helping me, sending me debug logs and helping me with some of the bugs. So thank you. You guys have been awesome.
And thank you. Shout out to Snaggle Whiskers today, has been very helpful too. In the chat. So.
And just the fact that there are people who would play this is just so cool. Like, to me, I love this. I love that. So
we're really lucky.
We are.
Well, this has been fantastic. Again, please. What's it called? Why is it my mind blank every time with Steam where you add
wish
your
list?
Wish list. Thank you.
Yes, wish list.
You put a camera in my face and words just. Add TradeBots to your wish list, please. We're out in very soon, couple months.
Yep.
And feel free to download the demo and let us know.
Yeah, and honestly, email us. Like, let us know how you're doing, what you think. Even if it's bad, even if you hate it, like, just email us. Like, we'd love to hear from you. Honestly, we just want to make art that people like and games that people like and get something from. So we'd love to hear from you. Drop us a line, info@cinquemarsmedia.org. So.
Thanks so much for giving us your afternoon. Have a great Steam Next Fest, and we'll see you soon with TradeBots.